If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast. We are, of course, presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you guys know that. Those of you that check us out on video, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. You can see the helmets or the game balls. Kind of a nice background, I think. I'm pretty happy with it. He is the star of the show because he's a long-time professional sports bettor. He makes the lion's share of his living from betting and has for over 20 years. You can check him out on social media at Fezzik Sports and only at Fezzik Sports, I might add. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. 2 suggestions for you. Number 1, if you want to see the incredible spreadsheet from Sean Grady, the Australian sensation, aka Grades, and see all of our bets in black and white every week, all you need to do is go to patreon.com/RTmedia. That's the key. Patreon.com/RTmedia. Become a Tuckheads member. You'll get access to the private Slack channel, and you'll be able to see the spreadsheet like Ben Woodruff, Harvey Van Allen, Chris Dinovich. It's awesome. Plus, you can hang out with the other folks on the private Slack channel threads. I might even be doing a happy hour Friday night. I'll get back to you guys on that one, which is fun, like a Zoom happy hour where we all get to hang with each other. The other thing I would say, if you take advantage of any of our sponsors, like DraftKings using the code Ross or westshorehome.com/Ross, any of them, make sure you forward it to me, ross@rosstucker.com. I'll put your question at the top of my queue, and you'll get your question for Steve read on the show. We get to a lot more questions when we get to the postseason, and certainly in the quote-unquote off-season, although Steve always has at least 1 or 2 bets on something pretty much every single episode. Steve, we had a good week, buddy. We had a winning week. It wasn't a huge week, but it was a winning week. I was up 3 units. You were up 2 units. So that puts us back for the year where I'm up 8 units. You're up 5.5 units. So not a huge week, but we'll take it. And it started with the Texans, which was one of our best bets last week. You had the Texans and I had the Texans getting 3 points. I believe you had said on the show, who are the Chargers to be laying 3 points? Well, that was absolutely the case as the Texans took them to the woodshed in the second half and won 32-12. It was a really nice start for us for Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah, and it's very rarely wrong to take +3 or more in the playoffs with the home team. It just seems like magnified the bettors. There's more bettors going into fewer games, and they just want to bet the better team, and they ignore the point spread. So that came through for us.
That's interesting. So that's kind of an overarching philosophy for you. Is like, hey, you got the home team getting 3 points or more. We're in a playoff game. We're doing it.
Absolutely. Probably the poster child of that was when Beast Mode in Seattle was like 7-9, and they made the playoffs and won outright. As that boost from the home field in the playoffs is really substantial when you're the home underdog.
The next game was the Steelers and the Ravens. You lean to the Ravens laying the 10. I put 1 unit on the Steelers getting 10. They got destroyed in the first half. It's really interesting because end of the first half, the Ravens ran the ball on the first 2 plays, up 14-0, and the Steelers called timeout after the second down play. They called timeout too early. You can't do that until, in my opinion, you have a high level of confidence you're going to be getting the ball. The Ravens ended up getting that touchdown end of the first half. That was a killer to go up 21-0. Russell Wilson actually played pretty good in the second half. I thought I had a really good chance, Steve, at covering the 10 points in the second half. It was at one point when it was 21-7 and then it was 28-14. I thought, and then they got a 3 and out. I thought we had a chance.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on this. End of the first half from memory, I think it was like 3rd and 3, something like that. But think about this. We could have an argument who's more likely to score if you call timeout. It might be close. However, you're down 14-0. So you got to increase the variance of the game, because if you go in at halftime, even down 14-0, you're really almost donezo. So I was fine with the Steelers playing aggressive. Basically the opposite of what Tomlin often does, punting 4th and 5 when he's down 2 scores. So I actually liked it. Didn't work out.
So I think there was still like a minute 40 something on the clock. So I think I would have not called the timeout there. And then after the 3rd down play, if they don't get it, then call the timeout. If they do get it, don't call the timeout, because you're still going to get the ball with over a minute, and you still then have, it's not like you lose the timeout. You know what I mean? Like, if it was less than a minute, I think I would agree with you, but it was like a minute 42 or something. You know what I mean? Like, there was still,
sure, but
you still would have gotten the ball with plenty of time to score if you're the Steelers.
Sure. I was just happy Tomlin for once made an aggressive stance when he was losing, because he's been roundly criticized. And frankly, all these Dumbo media people give the wrong advice. Tomlin should learn, to study more of the analytics. No, he should just hire some geekazoid to tell him what to do. Solved.
Broncos, Bills. We both like the Bills as a teaser leg. That was another best bet that came through for us, a 2-unit best bet. We had the Bills down to -2.5. Broncos got off to a good start, but the Bills smashed them 31-7. Then Packers-Eagles. I leaned Packers getting the 4.5. I kind of still feel like that was the right side, leaning that way. It was just the turnovers. I mean, it was kind of an even game other than the turnovers. The Eagles did not play particularly well on offense. The injuries and the turnovers killed the Packers, especially the opening kickoff. You didn't have anything on that game, Steve.
Yeah, don't run kickoffs out when you field them in the end zone. So that's a special teams blunder, and I'll make the case the game was over as soon as they fumbled that on the first play of the game.
I think that they felt like they had an advantage on special teams. That Nixon guy's a 2-time All-Pro kickoff returner, and I think that they said, hey, when in doubt, we're doing it. And they were barely getting to the end zone, too, by the way. All right, let's get to the Commanders and the Bucks. You leaned Commanders. I took the Commanders, getting the 3 points for 1 unit. That came through. They won the game outright, 23-20. Over the Bucks. You would lean to the over too, Steve, but it was only 23-20 and the total had been 50.5.
Yeah, Washington, they moved the ball on long drives. Tick, tick, tick. Tampa just didn't get the ball, so it was a masterclass at ball control.
Washington did not turn it over or punt the entire game and scored 23 points. How is that possible? How is that possible, Steve? You don't turn it over or punt one time the whole game? What? I mean, you having the over was the right call. 23 points when you don't punt or turn it over one time the whole game.
Been doing it all year long with their long ball control drives and going forward 4th down. Yep.
All right. Finally, last night we had a best bet. We actually had 2 bets on last night's game. Rams-Vikings. We had the Rams teased up to 7.5. That was obviously glorious. They beat the Vikings 27-9. So that 2-unit best bet teaser came through. I went with you on the over, 46.5. You put 2 units on it. I only went with 1. Man, Steve, it was 27-9. The Vikings correctly, I thought, went for 2 to try to make it a 2-score game, a 16-point game. But, Steve, there's like 8 minutes left in the third quarter at this point. I thought we got a great chance at this. The Rams are going to score again. The Vikings are going to score again. Nobody scored again the rest of the game. and your guy who you love, Kevin O'Connell, is milking the play clock and running the ball with like 6 minutes left in the game, 8 minutes left in the game.
Well, O'Connell certainly saw what I saw in a quarterback in Sam Darnold. Never seen this before, Ross. Quarterback's under duress in the pocket, and he runs to the right. And then he sees a dude in front of him, and what does he do? He runs back to the left. But guess what? He was running from someone. So the guy got sacked 9 times. Never seen a quarterback have such a bad pocket presence.
It was bad. It was really, really bad. That's always been an issue with him. These last 2 games, he got rattled. He got rattled big time. There's no question about it. All right. So for the week, I was up 3 units. You were up 2. We were 2-1 on our best bets. So now for our best bets, we're 69, 60, and 3. 69, 60, and 3. That's a strike rate of 52%. We move on to the divisional round, Steve. Steve, I'm looking forward to, by the way, getting the email questions later in the show because there's a good one about arbitrage opportunities and using bonuses. I know you're big on that, which is, by the way, yet another reason why everybody listening or watching should go to westshorehome.com/Ross. Speaking of bonuses, they got a 3 for free sales event. Get free installation, a free upgrade to the window, door, or bath products. And the best part, in addition to these big savings, you can be interest-free with no payments for a full year. Go to westshorehome.com/Ross, where, by the way, you can see my front door, my other doors, upstairs, the bathrooms. You can see my whole house pretty much. You get an extra $500 off. Awesome, awesome thing to do. Maybe a Valentine's Day gift. Love it. westshorehome.com/Ross. westshorehome.com/Ross. Playoff season is here, and the only thing better than game day predictions are the foods that come with them. Introducing Tums Fantasy Football Pool, brought to you by Tums, America's #1 antacid brand, and DraftKings. Each week leading up to the big game, turn football into foodball by building your best game day plate for a shot at winning a share of $40,000 in cash prizes. Inspired by game day bites and tailgate treats, join the Tums foodball action during this playoff season's most heartburn-inducing time. Visit DraftKings.com/foodball between January 6th and February 9th to enter for free and select your game day plate before the start of each playoff round. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at DraftKings.com/TumsFoodball. When you feel the heat of the game, don't let heartburn keep you on the sidelines. Try Tums Chewy Bites with a tasty outer shell and soft center for fast relief of heartburn, acid indigestion, and upset stomach. Check out Tums Gummy Bites featuring a soft and easy-to-chew format for fast relief of occasional heartburn, acid indigestion, sour stomach, and upset stomach. Both available at Amazon, Target, and other major retailers nationwide. And for more heartburn relief fun, be sure to follow Tums at Tums Official on Instagram and TikTok. All right, so I saw this on Monday night's game, this commercial multiple times, and the one guy couldn't say the word, so I'm going to see if I can say the word. Smirnoff Extraordinary. Head on over to SmirnoffDrops.com to check out upcoming drops and check out these Smirnoff Extraordinary items. Go quick, they won't last long. Here's what they are, by the way. They partner with Complex to let fans get their hands on amazing items handpicked by celebrities, including NFL legend, Super Bowl champ Vernon Davis, for the unbelievable price of $12.99, just like a bottle of Smirnoff. Check out these Smirnoff Extraordinary items at SmirnoffDrops.com. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer and may vary by state. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. It starts with the Texans and the Chiefs. I will be in the booth on the radio side with the legendary Kevin Harlan in Kansas City. Texans are getting 7.5. The total's 42.5, Steve.
I'm going to project that you'll have a favorable rating for the press box food in Kansas City. I'm going to tease Kansas City down to the -1.5 with the Buffalo Bills, up to +7.5. No brainer teaser. KC will win the game. This is a 3-unit teaser.
Dude, that's so funny that you just said this is a 3-unit teaser, because that's what I was going to do. For the first time all year, I was going to have a 3-unit teaser, and then you said it first. We have the first, I don't want to say ever, but first this year, 3-unit best bet teaser. That is awesome. Best bets are presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Absolute no-brainer. I agree. You know, I will say this. The total, by the way, for the game is 42.5. I'm a little bit tempted, Steve, to also take the Texans and the 7.5. Talk to me about it. You know, that first game was pretty tight, and Tank Dell got hurt. Texans look good against the Chargers. Chiefs haven't played in 24 days. They could come out rusty. I think there's a pretty good chance it's a 1-score game. You going to talk me out of it, or you think I should put a unit on it?
Yeah, Kansas City's going to crush them. We're going to play the under 42.5. I got 2 units on the under. Also, Kansas City hasn't played a meaningful game in months. All they did was win close games because they were like LeBron James in the regular season, and their stats aren't impressed, and then their power rating goes through the roof come playoff time. They're much healthier at wide receiver. You've got God at quarterback. There's no way that the Texans should hang in this game. 27-10 Chiefs, so 2 units on the under also.
Okay, I think the Texans' defense is excellent, and the Chiefs are getting healthier on defense. I don't think the Texans' offense is that great. I too, like the underplay here. I get nervous about totals. I'm not as good on totals, so I'll go Houston KC under 42.5, but just 1 unit for me. I'm not going 2 like Steve, but it's another best bet, which is awesome. All right, let's talk Saturday night. Commanders and the Lions. Interesting line. The Commanders are getting 9.5. The total is a high 55.5.
So I'm really not sure which direction to go in this game, but I have a prop I want to throw out there, and it's not widely available. It's not up yet, but it'll be right around 6. I'm going to play punts under 6 because I see Washington doing what they did last game. Long ball control drives. Both teams will go for it at midfield, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. So I don't see much punting at all. I don't know if we're going to get to 56 points, but I'm going to go punts under.
Wait a minute. I didn't even know they had that.
Yeah. DraftKings will put up punts on all the games.
Is that just for like playoff game? They don't have that regular season, do they?
Usually Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, and playoffs. Yeah.
They have number of punts. That is a great bet. How many units did you go?
I'll go 2 units.
I love that bet. I'm doing that with you because they're both so aggressive on 4th down.
Yeah, I would
play
play
the number. The number 6.
I'm projecting 6. I'd play it at under 6 or better, and I think we'll get 6.
What's the normal game typically?
8.5, 9.
Wow. Okay, I love that. Another best bet. Under 6 punts, 2 units. That's going to be amazing. I'm going to be, after the Chiefs-Texans game, I'm going to be at some sports bar eating barbecue, drinking beers, watching the game, rooting against punts.
The food is
incredible.
The food is good in Kansas City, right? At the press box?
Well, okay. The food in the city of Kansas City is very good.
Ooh.
The press box, yeah, it really varies. Last time I was there for the Saints game, they had New Orleans food. They had like, they tried to do New Orleans food in Kansas City. It was like, what's the soup? It was like a gumbo. Yeah, they had gumbo, which I always think is so interesting. Like these people, a lot of these people just came here from New Orleans and they can have gumbo and jambalaya all the time. And that's what you're going to, but for your home people, it's like, okay, do something different. Mm-hmm. I think that they think maybe the people like me go out for barbecue the night before, which by the way is accurate. I already have my reservation. It's absolutely accurate. Okay. Let's talk Sunday. It's the Rams and the Eagles. Rams are getting 6, totals 43.5, Steve.
So everyone just saw the surging Los Angeles Rams play a great game against the Vikings, and they're piling on and they're saying, hey, Rams are better than the Eagles. Why are they getting 6? Ross, Eagles -6, no-brainer bet. So let me make my case. Rest advantage, Rams. Oh my goodness, what they're going through with the fires in Los Angeles, and hearts out to everyone with the tragedy that's going on in LA. Then they had to fly to Arizona, short week. So Monday night, they get home at like 3 a.m, whenever, on Tuesday morning. And now they have to go all the way out to the East Coast. They have to play the early time on Sunday. I know it's noon, but it's still disadvantageous. Weather's going to be balmy by Philly standards, but not for the beach kids. 40 degrees and some rain. Advantage Eagles there. I've seen this story. I've seen this movie hundreds of times where the Chargers go to Miami and they win this great shootout, and then they go to the Ice Bowl in Cincinnati and they lose 7-27. I know that's an extreme example, but it is applicable. Philly by 10. Give me Philly 2 units.
Wow. Interesting. I can't do it. Not after what I saw. I agree with everything you just said, but man, the Eagles offense really struggled against Green Bay. Now, I will say this too. The Eagles have dominated the Rams the last 2 years in the regular season. I mean, dominated them up front, both sides of the ball. That usually is consistent. So that would be a good point for you, Steve, but I'm not going with you on that one. I'd probably lean to the Rams, but you just talked me out of it with all that talk. But I got a no play there. All right. The game of the weekend, one of the best divisional round games I've ever seen. You've got the top 2 vote getters for MVP, 2 of the 5 teams left that could legitimately win the Super Bowl. Actually, no, I take that back. Yeah, 5 teams left that could legitimately. I never thought the Vikings could. All right. The Ravens on the road are laying 1.5. I think they might agree with you about the Ravens being the best team, Steve. Totals 51.5.
Yeah, the Ravens I have as my highest rated, power rated team in the NFL. And I'm fine if you want to give Lamar Jackson the regular season MVP. But let me check my calendar. It's January 19th. Yeah, that means it's a playoff game. And it's a playoff game in Buffalo where the Bills rarely lose and where Lamar Jackson rarely wins in the playoffs. So if it was a regular season, I'm fine with the Bills being the dog. I'm not fine with it during the playoffs. Bills are going to win the game, and we get to tease the Bills. If I couldn't tease the Bills, I'd be betting the Bills plus 1.5 also. And you know what? I'm going to do that. 1 unit on Buffalo, along with the teaser, plus the 1.5.
Wow. Steve now has 4 units riding on the Buffalo Bills in this game. That is big. Man, I can't do it. The Ravens are good. The Ravens, that running attack, I don't know that that's a good matchup for the Bills, but I do like the Bills to hang in there. Superman Josh Allen. I love the Bills as a teaser as well. I got the Bills up to plus 7.5 in our best bet teaser. So I love it. You've got a bunch of bets this weekend, Steve. We've got 3 best bets on every game has at least 1 best bet except for the Rams and the Eagles. My Bills fans up in Buffalo, Steve, certainly are loving what you're saying about the Bills. Before we get to the email question, be like Bills fans. Drink Labatt Blue Light with your friends, family, living life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. Love getting the emails coming in from our listeners, Steve. It is so fun. This one comes from Josh in Toronto. He said, I've been a member of your patreon.com/RTmedia since 2019. 6 years has certainly flown by. Been listening to you since your ESPN days. Your hustle and come up has honestly been inspiring. Avid listener to Even Money because your chemistry with Steve Fezzik is hilarious. I'm also an avid sports bettor that's building a sports betting community focused on helping beginners and struggling bettors in Canada find success through positive EV betting. Here's his question, Steve. In the summer, we took a question from a listener about taking the next step. And you talked about bonus hustling and taking advantage of all the bonuses. He says that's his first option when he teaches new bettors how to build their bankroll. He said he takes it to the next level, though. He bonus hustles on multiple books with the idea of finding arbitrage/matched bet opportunities to make things move a bit more quickly. The caveat to this strategy is the increased likelihood of getting accounts limited. He's wondering what your big picture perspective is on maintaining good account health and avoiding the dreaded situation of being limited with his arbitrage matched bet opportunities with the bonus hustling.
Yeah, let me give a shout out. I just got, pursuant to that and bonuses, this book, But How Much Did You Lose? It's by Dan Abrams, and he's talking, here it is. So Dan Abrams just came out with this book, and he talks about like getting these bonuses and matches and how you can do it to your advantage. Ideally, you want to sprinkle in some parlays, some same game parlays. You want to play some stuff that is maybe not positive EV, and you can play it small and make your account look like your sport. So don't just like pop them for their bonuses and their juiced payouts on certain things. And you want to take advantage of the bonuses, but you also want to be a sport. You want to gamble a little bit with them to preserve your lifetime. I'll throw this out as an example of a bonus. So we're betting our balls off on Kansas City as a teaser. We're playing like crazy. We just need Kansas City basically to win. Well, if you want to mitigate the risk a little bit, and in this book, Abrams would say, well, if you're betting way more than you normally bet, maybe you should play something back. Well, take your free bet and bet Houston on the money line. It's a free bet, doesn't cost you nothing. So you bet Houston, plus 340 or whatever it is on the money line right at post. And there you're protecting your teaser with that free play, and you're basically locked in so that you're going to win either way using techniques like that.
Interesting. So do a parlay in part so that the book says, oh, look, he does parlays. We like people that do parlays. We win a lot over time on parlays. I mean, that's unbelievable, the technology they must have to be able to know okay, this guy's using a parlay, let's not limit him.
Exactly. By the way, I misspoke. The Texans, Ross, you can get 4-1. You can get plus 400 on them. Think about how good that is. You can tease Kansas City down, all right, to minus 1.5 in your teasers and get, if you want to protect it with like a free play, and get 4-1 or close to it with the Texans. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Kansas City could win by 1. Just send me the bill if that happens.
Check him out on social media at Fezzik Sports. He is the man. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We're at Ross Tucker Pod. Probably going to drop Greg Cosell on this feed later in the week. The legend from NFL Films. You guys would love his session on Ross Tucker Football Podcast. He's a smart guy like most of you. So look for that a little bit later in the week. Other than that, good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.